Today is all about reading goals. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and today we're talking about our reading goals. So, first, I'm going to talk about my 2024 goals and whether I hit them or not. I'm not gonna lie, it was super exciting and terrifying to go back and look at my goals and see how I did. The intro is gonna be pretty short. The video is probably gonna be very short. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I'm gonna go over my list of my goals from last year, tell you if I hit them or not, how I did, and then I'm gonna give you my goals for 2025. Before we get into it, make sure you got all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week, and all we do on this channel is talk about books. If you like listening to people talk about books, here I am every week doing just that for you. I was actually pretty surprised at how well I did with my goals. Like, for most of them, I hit most of them. But yeah, because I feel like when I did my halfway year check-in and I felt like I was doing all right, but I still had like a lot of room to go still. And I was kind of afraid, like the last 3 or 4 months of the year were really just not great for me. And so I felt like I wasn't achieving very much with my reading besides just getting reading done. I had some not great reading months, and yeah, it was just a really weird end to the year, you know? But yeah, we're back. We're going to see how we did, and we're going to set new goals for 25. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Okay, goal number 1 was to read 40 books, and I hit that goal. That was super exciting because I do know towards the end of the year, I got really backed up with work, and I was having trouble getting reading done. Like, there were a few months where it was only 2 books. So I was really worried that I wasn't going to hit my number, but luckily, like, I was able to pack some of my months more full in the summer, and I got more reading done then. So yeah, I hit my 40-book goal, and I'm like so proud of myself for doing that. So we'll talk about this in another month, but I have like a huge amount of open series, like series that I just haven't finished yet. And so a goal that I set myself almost every year is that I need to close out some of them. And I wanted to close out at least 2 in 24, and I did. I was so happy that I did that. I mean, honestly, I wish it could have been more. Like, it should have been more. Because I know a couple of my series are literally like 1 book away from being finished, so it's possible for me to do that. I just have chosen not to over the years. The 2 series that I finished was the Moon of the Crusted Snow series by Waubgeshig Rice. Absolutely loved that. I had a great time. I highly recommend that series. It's a duology. And then the other one that I finished is also a duology, and it is the Marrow Thieves books by Cherie Demeline. I absolutely love that series. I will never not recommend those books to people. So yeah, I finished 2 series, and that was great. This is a weird one. I remember when I made this goal thinking it sounded weird, but like, I don't DNF books. And so one of my goals this year was to DNF a book, because I feel like I'm always just like hanging on. You know, I'm like, maybe it'll get better. It's gonna get better. And I always have this hang up of like, I have to know how it ends. I need to know how it ends, because how can I properly judge a book if I don't know the whole story? And I'm just getting to the point where I'm just so tired of wasting my time reading books I'm not legitimately having a good time with. So yeah, that was a goal in 24, was to DNF a book. And so I didn't technically fulfill this goal, but I'm going to say that I did, because here's why. There was a book club book that was chosen, and I remember thinking, I read the description, I read what it was about. It has been insanely popular all over the socials, and I listened to a lot of people that I trust that have read this book. Like, a lot of our reading likes and dislikes are super similar, and I listened to a couple of those creators talk about how they felt about the book, and they spoke very negatively about it. And I remember thinking, I really don't want to read this book. Like, I'm so busy, I don't want to read this book. I was gonna have to buy it too. Like, there was no other way for me to get it because it's so stinking popular. And I was like, I really don't want to read this book. So I didn't. So I'm counting that as a DNF, because like, I was supposed to read it. You know, there's not that many times in your life where you're like supposed to read something, like you're required to read something. and you don't do it like outside of like school or work or something like that. Like having assigned reading as an adult when no one's paying you to do it and you're not working towards something like a degree or something like that seems awfully silly. This is as close to required reading as I get, and it's only because I run the book club that I feel like I'm required to read the books. But like honestly, other people in the club don't read books some months, so it's like it's not fair for me to have to read every single book if I legitimately don't want to. So I'm counting that as a DNF. I legitimately did not read this book. I still ran the club, like the meeting and everything. Everyone seemed to really like it, and that just like really affirmed that I made the right decision for myself. So yeah, I'm counting that as a DNF. Another goal I had was to unpack my office. And if you've been with my channel a minute, you know that the background of my office looks exactly the same as it has like the last 3 years that I've had my channel. So quite obviously, nothing about the office has changed. I did not unpack my boxes of books that have been sitting in this house since I moved here. But on the one hand, I am kind of glad that I didn't do that because this room is getting turned into something else. So I would have had to pack them all back up or figured out where to put them. So at least they're still in the boxes now and I can figure out what I'm going to do with them next. So yeah, I didn't get it done, but I mean, I guess it worked out. Another 2024 goal was I wanted to read more BIPOC and POC books. I read 8, which I don't think is terrible. I don't, but also it could be a lot better. You know, I read 40 books. 8 isn't even really like a decent percentage of that. So yeah, I think I could do better, but I was happy that I got 8 at all, if that makes sense. Like there was a time when I was reading 0 a year, when I didn't care about diversifying my bookshelf, where I wasn't looking to diversify, I wasn't paying attention to diversification. So yeah, on the one hand, could the number be better? Absolutely. It could always be better. On the other hand, I'm so proud of myself that I have 8. And they were 8 that I really liked. Another goal was to read more rainbow books this year, and I read 5. Again, not a great number, but I'm happy that I got them in. And again, these 5 books, I loved these books, okay? Like, I don't know. And that just proves I need to read more, you know, like more BIPOC, more rainbow, because all the books I pick end up being so magnificent and beautiful. And yeah, so I'm happy with my 5, but we could do better. So another goal, this is the last one for 24, was to read more audiobooks because I was so struggling getting my physical books in. And it's because I read for a living, like that's my job, is to read people's manuscripts. And so it really takes a lot of the joy out of reading for me. Sometimes it just depends on how backed up my schedule is. It really makes reading feel like a chore when it's not. Like reading is very enjoyable, but I don't know, it's just something about having to sit down and physically look at it, and like my eyes get tired, you know, whatever. So I started doing audiobooks this year more heavily. Like I did some in 23, but like I really told myself I wanted to do more in 24 because I think it could help me boost my reading, and it did. I did 26 audiobooks in 24. Like over half of my books were audiobooks. Like I was so surprised. Like I knew the number would be higher because I really made it a point to like use Libby a lot this past year. And then I also have like audiobooks an app, not Audible, but another one. So I pay for that. I pay like a small subscription for that. So I wanted to make sure I was actually using that as well because I'm paying for it. So yeah, I'm really surprised. The number was so much higher than I was thinking. Like I thought maybe like 10 or 12, like 26. That's crazy. But yeah, I've been loving audiobooks, and it has been helping me get a lot more reading done. Not all audiobooks are created equal, like some of them are just not great. But overall, I'm really happy that I got that number up. Okay, usually at the end of my goals, I say these are some specific authors that I want to look at this year, or I want to read more this year, like make an effort to read more by this author. So here's the list. It's Allie Reynolds. She wrote Shiver. I did not read any more by Allie Reynolds this year. Aaron Stewart is on the list, but now for the life of me, I can't remember what book I read that spurred this decision. So I'll put a picture of it here because I'll remember what it is when I stop recording. But no, I did not read any more Aaron Stewart this year. Sarah Gailey's on the list. Y'all, I love Sarah Gailey, okay? And yes, I did read one Sarah Gailey book this year. I wish I had read more though. But it just didn't work out. But yeah, Sarah Gailey is very well loved on this channel. John Green is also on the list. I did not read anything by John Green, and that was really difficult because I really wanted. The biggest reason I didn't get any John Green read is because all of John Green's books are like YA, and I've been really moving away from YA. It's just not hitting for me anymore, you know, and so I didn't want to force myself to read a genre that I'm not really that interested in just because I wanted to read the author. So, yeah. The last author is Nina LaCour. I did read a Nina LaCour book this year. It was amazing. Nina LaCour also writes a lot of YA, but the Nina LaCour book I read in 24 was a debut adult fiction novel, and oh my gosh, it blew me away. I absolutely loved that book. I cannot wait to talk about that book again because it's going to come up multiple times in 25. I know it will. I adore that book. Okay, so I'm really glad. But yeah, I only got 2 of the authors read and only once. Like, I didn't read anybody multiple times. So yeah, we definitely could have done better on that. So overall, 2024 did pretty well, honestly. Much better than I thought. I hit a lot of goals. And could we do better? Always. You can always do better. But I am really proud of what I accomplished in 24. So let's move on to the 2025 goals. So the number, what are we trying to hit this year? 40. We're going to try and hit 40 again. My life is changing a lot this year. A lot, for a lot of different reasons, okay? Life is just going to be really unpredictable this year. And so I'm not going to try and, you know, fix something that's not broken. 40 is hard for me to hit. I do have to like be pretty committed to reading every month, not skipping, making sure I hit all my numbers. So 40 is kind of hard for me to hit, especially if I'm not having a balanced year, and this year is going to be anything but balanced. So I'm just going to be happy if I hit 40 this year. I put down finish 2 series again. We'll see, because there are a few that are just one book away from finishing, but then the rest of them are not. So yeah, next month I am going to make the series episode that I make every year, and I think a lot of the books on the series episode just need to come off, because I'm never going to finish them. Honestly, I'm never going to finish those series, or I'm just not interested in them anymore, and they don't need to be on there. I don't need to be putting that pressure on myself when it's just so silly. You know what I mean? This is the year of letting stuff go, okay? So we're going to let a lot of stuff go. I wrote this down, and it says honest ratings. Okay. I'm a 4-star girly, okay? And I have been for a long time. I will put down 4 stars for almost everything. And I feel myself lately being like, oh, you know, this book was fine. I liked this, I liked that, it was fine, and giving it 4 stars. Fine is not a 4-star rating. Fine should be a 3, okay? I liked it, but I didn't like it. Or it wasn't for me, okay? This book was not for me. If I'm sitting here ho-humming and being like, well, it was just a fine book, it doesn't deserve the 4 stars, okay? So, I need to start being more honest with myself about how I felt about a book, and rate it more accordingly. So, yeah. I want to do that a lot more in 25 instead of just like giving it a 4 because like I appreciated the effort of the author or whatever. No, let's be for real, okay? I wrote down unpack my books again. I really want to do it this year, and because I know that this room is getting changed to something different, then I know I'm going to know where I want my books to end up, and I can unpack them wherever that's supposed to be. So I really just want to declutter this year too. Like, there's just so much stuff we have that we don't use, we don't need, it just sits around and gets looked at. So yeah, this will be part of that, because a lot of the books I have, I probably don't love anyway, and I could stand to get rid of them. So yeah, they need to come out of the boxes just to see what we have. I want to read more BIPOC, POC, and rainbow books this year, but I gave myself a minimum that I want to hit. I want to hit 10 of each. So with the BIPOC POC, we got really close this last year in 24. I got 8, but with the rainbow books, I only got 5. So like, there's a big room for improvement there. So I want to hit 10 of each in 25. So hopefully I can do that. I also wrote down that I want to read more thrillers and more horror. Okay. Because I know you guys probably think, Alex, you already read a lot of thrillers. I do, but it's like somehow between the summer and the end of the year, I don't read as much thrillers. And I feel like I'm bone dry by the time we come to December. Like, I feel like I've starved for a thriller, if that makes sense. And like horror, there was one year, I think it was 2023, where I was like, I'm going to read more horror this year. And I read a horror book like every other month. And oh my gosh, I had so much fun. It took so much pressure off me doing the October horror series. And then last year in 24, I didn't do that. And so, like, I was literally only reading horror in October. And then I had one horror session in the summer, I think. But it just felt so forced. It didn't feel as organic as I normally would like my book selections to be. And yeah, and then I didn't end up loving what I read for October. Like, it was not the best horror lineup. So yeah, I want to evenly space my thrillers and my horrors a little more this year. So that's all for the goals. Let's get into the specific authors. There's 5 on the list for this year. Allie Reynolds is on the list again. So Allie Reynolds wrote Shiver, right? I read this book a while ago. I still think about this book. This book haunts me. And I've been meaning to read Allie Reynolds. I tried to get an Allie Reynolds book last year. I did. I couldn't get it. And so I think it's just one of those things I need to put on a hold list and just wait it out. You know what I mean? So that might end up being what's happening. I am so nervous though, because the only other Allie Reynolds book that's out, everyone has said is a flop. Which, like, I'm bummed. I'm already bummed about it. It makes me not want to read it, because it's like, what if it's not good? And then I'll question whether Shiver was really that good, or if I was just like young. You know what I mean? But no, every time I think about Shiver, I think like that book was pretty messed up, and like I still think about it constantly. I think about that book all the time. So yeah, Allie Reynolds is on the list. We'll see. I added Jazz Hammonds to the list. Jazz Hammonds wrote Thirsty. I read this summer. This book blew me away. I absolutely adored this book, okay? And the other book by her is We All Deserve Monuments, which was on a maybe's list, okay? That was the book I was gonna read, and I couldn't get it, and so I got Thirsty instead, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I remember I looked at both of them and I couldn't decide which one, but I ended up getting Thirsty. So yeah, I really want to read that by Jazz Hammonds. I want to read another book by Jeremy Robert Johnson. He wrote The Loop. This book messed me up, okay? This was the perfect type of horror for me. It was so good. I can't even explain this book, okay? Go check out my review of it. But Jeremy Robert Johnson deserves to be read again. Okay, so I added Alice Feeney to the list. If y'all know, I just read Rock, Paper, Scissors, okay? And that's by Alice Feeney. Like, one of her more famous books, right? It was okay. Pretty solid. Solid thriller, okay? Did I love it? No, it did not get the 5 stars. I really had trouble with it. So I want to see if Alice Feeney is worth it for me, or if this was the best that she had. If this was the best that she had, I'm not that interested. It was a fine book. It ended up coming together at the end perfectly well. The beginning, whoa, hot mess, okay? Not gonna lie. So yeah, I want to see if Alice Feeney was a one hit. Okay, this is the last author is Shay Earnshaw, and they wrote A History of Wild Places. This is a cult book, okay? I loved this one. This was incredible, okay? So I would like to read more Shay Earnshaw to see if more of their books is like this. Okay, that's everything I have for you guys today. That's it. That was the wrap up of the 24 goals and all my goals for 25. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited about this year. Like I said, this year's going to be really weird for me. We're just going to have to see how it goes, honestly. Yeah. Whatever will be, I suppose. But yeah, I hope that you're setting your 25 goals. Hope that you keep reading, keep watching, keep whatever. I know I don't have that many followers on here, but I am going to start doing more shorts on here. TikTok's like kind of on the chopping block right now, and I just haven't been posting a lot of short form content anywhere. I've been taking a little bit of a break, but I'm going to get back into it. So more shorts will be coming to YouTube. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. Sometimes they go well and sometimes they flop all the time. So I have no idea. I hope that you'll still keep checking in with me on my long form content. I love talking to all of you guys. I love hearing from you in the comments. So please drop me a comment. Let me know what you're doing in 25. If you have any big goals. And then In a couple months will be the giveaway in March. I'll do a giveaway in March every year. So yeah, I hope you guys will all stick around for that. Make sure you get all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week. And that's all I really have for you guys. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. And I will see you all next time. Bye.